The dreaded keto flu. You're probably here to learn how you can beat it, and I'm going to tell you. So getting right into it, the keto flu is essentially a period of about 14 days at the beginning of a ketogenic diet that kind of sucks for most people. It typically involves headaches, irritability, low mood, and fatigue. It's kind of the big four. And it can last up to 3 weeks or be as short as 3 days. It really depends on your starting point from a health standpoint before the ketogenic diet. So if you're a very healthy, active, young individual with a great metabolism, your keto flu period is probably going to be pretty minor and only a couple days long. But on the other end of the spectrum, if you're obese, you're not metabolically healthy, you're older, etc., your keto flu could span up to 3 weeks. So I say again, for the average person, it's about 10 to 14 days. It typically starts on day 2 or 3 of the ketogenic diet and lasts a day, 10 or 15. So that's kind of what you're looking at here. Why does this happen? Let's cover that because I think people have a lot of questions about that. They don't get it. No one really has a great answer. So it really comes down to 2 major things going on. So thing 1 is hydration, and thing 2 is kind of fuel, energy, right? So let's talk hydration first. So when you start the ketogenic diet, you're obviously eating a very low carbohydrate diet, and that tends to lead to 2 things. 1, when you don't eat a lot of carbs, your body burns up all the carbs that it has stored. That's called glycogen in your muscle and in your liver. So the thing about glycogen is for every 1 gram of glycogen, there's 4 grams of water surrounding it, hydrating that molecule, okay? So when you burn up all this glycogen, that water kind of gets flushed from the body, and so you end up losing a lot of water weight and a lot of hydration with it. 2, insulin tends to be it's always extremely low on a ketogenic diet. And the reason is because you're not eating carbohydrates. So when your carbohydrate intake is very low, your blood sugar level stays very low and stable, and you don't have a lot of insulin in the blood. The thing is, the insulin as a hormone also works at the level of the kidney. And insulin tells the kidney to conserve sodium. So when you're at very low insulin levels, like on the ketogenic diet, the kidney gets rid of more sodium. So those 2 combined, kind of flushing a lot of water out of your system and not retaining a lot of those electrolytes, tends to lead to like low blood volume, low hydration. So that's issue 1 leading to this kind of keto flu. And then issue 2 is fuel, energy. And so most people are incredibly carbohydrate dependent to make fuel. They are carb burners, and that is very standard, for everyone. So as we shift to a fat-based diet and we are shifting to our metabolism from carbohydrate burning to fat burning, it takes time, right? This isn't like a flip of a switch. All of a sudden you went from a carb burner to a fat burner. This involves a whole bunch of metabolic machinery to be put together and, done correctly. So it takes time, and that's kind of what the 14 days is doing. It's taking you from being a carbohydrate burner to being a semi-decent fat burner. And those metabolic adaptations will continue months down the line. But so in that case, even though your cells are kind of looking around like, where are my carbs? Where are my carbs? And you're saying, well, wait, I'm feeding you, I'm giving you a bunch of fats and some protein. And they're saying, but where are my carbs? I don't know what to do with all this fat. And so that's kind of what's happening. Even though you're eating, a isocaloric, the same energy level or a higher level with your kind of ketogenic diet, your cells in your body doesn't really know what to do with it because it's not a great fat burner yet. So hydration and fuel is kind of the 2 problems leading to keto flu. So here are the 4 ways you can kind of get around this and either shorten and reduce the symptoms of the keto flu. So number 1 and 2, we'll talk about hydration, and 3 and 4, we're going to talk about fuel to keep those things on the same side. Number 1, hydrate. So I drink about a gallon of water every single day for the first 14 days. For some people, that might be a little bit overhydrating, but it's not going to really matter when I talk about point 2 here in a second, and especially if you only do it for 14 days. So to get rid of the keto flu, drink a whole bunch of water. Fill up a gallon jug, drink it every single day. Number 2, make sure you're maintaining adequate electrolyte balance and increasing your sodium intake. So as I mentioned, with insulin in the kidney, you're excreting more sodium, which means you need to eat more sodium on the ketogenic diet than the average person. So be liberal with your salt use, especially in the first 14 days. Obviously, don't go crazy with this. Don't be salting your water and just taking salt like crazy, but don't be afraid of salt. I know there's a negative stigma attached to salt, so remove that stigma and add it to foods. You need more of it on a ketogenic diet. Now, there are other electrolytes we should talk about. Potassium, salt's best friend, and then we got magnesium and calcium. Those are kind of the big 4 I like to talk about. So I'll give you some foods that have high concentrations of those electrolytes. You can eat them and you'll feel great. So 1, avocados. I like avocados on the ketogenic diet and all diets for a billion reasons, but in particular, they have a ton of potassium, actually more potassium than a banana. So eat an avocado a day. I think that's not an apple a day to keep the doctor away, even avocado a day to keep the doctor away is probably a great point. 2, sardines. Now, a lot of you probably are gagging right now. I love sardines. I didn't used to love them, but they're probably one of the true superfoods of the world. They're incredibly helpful for you. And so I kind of just forced myself to eat them until now I love them. And I look forward to eating them all the time. I eat about a can a day, all the way up to 3 cans a day. Well, I guess they're more like tins than cans, but whatever. So sardines, they have a ton of calcium, which is really good, especially for people that are lactose intolerant. So if you're on a ketogenic diet and you're not eating a lot of dairy, there's a very good chance your calcium consumption is very low. So sardines carry a ton of calcium, and they're a great addition to a ketogenic diet, especially because they're going to keep your calcium levels up. 3, spinach, kind of like the staple vegetable of any ketogenic diet. If you're not eating a whole bunch of spinach on your keto diet, you're doing it wrong. But spinach carries a lot of magnesium too, so that's a great thing. So increase your salt intake and make sure you're getting adequate amounts of potassium, calcium, and magnesium. So point 3, now we're talking a little bit more on the shifting towards being a fat burner and increasing your energy output. So caffeine is your friend. That's my 3rd tip. So I typically just double my caffeine consumption. So I drink a lot of coffee. I'm a fast caffeine metabolizer, which is probably why I drink a lot of coffee, because it doesn't affect me that much. But I have up to 6 cups a day when I'm doing this like kind of transition. And I haven't really done this transition in like years because I've been keto for years. But I tell my clients essentially to double their caffeine consumption. So if you were drinking 3 cups, drink 6. I tend to say like the upper limit is 6. Don't go beyond that. But if you're not a fast metabolizer, that also probably means you don't drink a whole lot of coffee because you kind of get jittery and anxious when you do drink it. So if you're only drinking 1 cup, drink 2 and kind of spread them out over a couple hours. Have 1 right when you first wake up. Have 1 at 10 or 11, noon, whatever. If you're not a coffee drinker, tea is a great option, especially if you're a slow metabolizer. But really, caffeine is your friend. It's going to help rev up that fat metabolism and kind of shift you into that fat burning state faster. It's also going to give you a slight increase in blood pressure, which typically is low during that keto flu phase, and it's going to hit you at like the neurological level and kind of give you that energy bump when you're in that low energy state, struggling to convert fats into ATP. Okay, and then the 4th is going to be low intensity. I'm looking at you athletes because you guys take everything I say to like the nth degree and go crazy with it. So low intensity exercise. Do not do high intensity interval training. Do not go try to deadlift 500 pounds for 15 reps. This is low steady state cardio. Okay, just like go jog, slog, whatever you want to call it. Walk, jog, whatever, for like 30 minutes to 60 minutes a day. That is really important for kind of accelerating fat metabolism and shifting you from a carbohydrate burner into that deep fat burning state, which is essential to get out of the keto flu and start a healthful ketogenic diet. So again, exercise is super important. You obviously won't want to do this at this phase because you're not feeling all that great, but get out there, give me at least 30 minutes of low intensity exercise. I keep like combining low intensity exercise and high intensity interval training. Give me some low intensity exercise for 30 to 60 minutes every single day for those first 14 days, and you will breeze right through the keto flu. So those are my tips. I hope this helps you get into ketosis faster and, in a painless way. And hopefully for some of you who have been avoiding the ketogenic diet because of the keto flu, this will convince you to give it a try. If you know anyone that is starting the ketogenic diet or is afraid of the keto flu, send them my video so they can get some help. And of course, give me some subscribes and likes. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.